Welcome back YouTubers to my channel, for Everyday Life I'm Aspie. If you're new to my channel, I'm Aspie. I'm all about creating mental health and awareness and sharing my life stories with Autistic syndrome and the like, along with tips and advice along the way, be it your general health versus your mental health. So today's one's going to be another autism and series, obviously, or something autistic related anyways, just to hopefully bring me back into session to what I am here for, obviously, on this channel. Since, as you guys know, I'm an advocate mentor for people with autism, Autistic syndrome and the like me. So this one's going to be about the shopping tips based on when you're shopping with an autistic or what have you. So hopefully if you're liking some of these videos so far that I have shown to you earlier in the piece, smash that like button and comment below, because as I said, many of times of these, comments versus feedback from you guys would be much appreciated, so I can improve more onto what I need to do for myself or what have you. So this one, as said, as we know, as an autistic myself, or you as a parent or carer that has an autistic child, it can be so overwhelming, overbearing for you to carry on your everyday chores, whatever it may be, especially when it comes down to planning your time with your child to take them out to the end of town, whatever it may be. So as you know, sometimes you got to believe in yourself that you're not alone in this, because there are plenty of other parents with children with autistics that are out there, and that it's just managing to find the right support network, as well as, even though these everyday challenges can bring blessings in amongst the calm of the storm, as well as also based on this, it can bring out some of the abundance of sights, crowds and everything else, regardless where we are at in our everyday life, you see. So here we go. For the first tip I want to bring out to you from what I've learned based on myself when I have been going on and about, is plan ahead of time. What I mean is sometimes we know in our everyday schedule, sometimes when we plan ahead of time, knowing the who, what, where, when, why, and also just to know when is the best time for us to shop. I find sometimes when it comes down to grocery shopping, some days are better than others for me when I'm grocery shopping, especially. Like, I do it early hours in the morning to avoid all the crowds, the hubbub of noises and whatnot, and hear, say, any of the overstimulation that goes on, sort of thing. Every autistic will be different regardless. Some might like to be in the evening to shop, some like me in the morning. This will also avoid any sensory meltdowns or overloads that will begin in that everyday process, as well as the business. In saying this though, also you could, tip number 2, research the opening hours of the busiest times, whenever that will be, of that time of day that you want to plan ahead of time, regardless what it is. Here's, say, if you want to plan to go shopping, be it grocery shopping or just shopping in general, like early hours in the morning, some shops will allow that and whatnot. This would also avoid, for the chance also in saying this, to avoid maybe making contact with people around you, talking to people, and hopefully you can stay focused on the task at hand, regardless what it may be. In saying this, when you're going out shopping, tip number 3 is bring some toys, or of the stimming toys, especially in general, because obviously they can help you come off the storm with any meltdowns or what have you, I believe, as well as also in saying there's some other items you could bring is earphones to block out any background noise, white noise or what have you, sunglasses for indoor outdoor use, because obviously some of us are really sensitive to light, so we need to bear in mind in that. This will also, in saying this, we get a bit of sensory discomfort through the sounds, visual and everything else, due to what I just said time and time again, the sensory meltdowns and overloads. Tip number 4, write down a list with you before you go, like a list of things to do, or just a list in general, be it a shopping list or whatever that you want to buy, so that hopefully in time when you go out that you're real prepped and ready, and that regardless if it's on pen to paper or versus on your digital device, whatever you may use it for, that it can hopefully be ahead of time. Okay, Tip number 5, plan visual schedules, especially for autistic children. Some of them like to have visual schedules of what's going on throughout their day, regardless from morning to night or whatever. So incorporate what's going on in their schedule little by little, just to let them know what's going down. Tip number 6, writing down maybe a menu of some kind, maybe beforehand, or meal plan is the word I'm looking for here, so that like if you were grocery shopping for food, you know what you want to get in there to avoid any, again, content and saves you from everyday's grace. If need be, tip number 6, in saying this, you could shop online, be it grocery shopping versus, your everyday shopping of your groceries. Tip number 7 here would be basically start at the smaller intervals and times, regardless what you're going through, so that you can, pace yourself and build up the tolerance levels of what goes on around you, be it the sensory light, background hubbub, noise, and what have you. Practice and build the tolerance to incorporate the times that you're going out and whatnot for these trips in a regular routine. So put it into a routine structure, because autistics like routine and structure, and that because it gives them the safety net of comfort and security and safety that everything should go well into play for them as well as you. Tip number 8, I think I'm up to, bear with me, is bring a drink or a snack item with you while you're shopping, especially if you're doing longer trips. Doesn't matter what other people may think. Sometimes also in saying this, you could also bring some other things that could incorporate with this, maybe some hand sanitizers or something to keep you calm if you do get anxious, like with me, as I did with the travel anxiety tip. I usually carry mints around to do that, or sometimes I'll start humming and whatnot when I have my earphones in play if I did have them with me. Tip number 9 is staying energized. Sometimes what I mean here is we need to try and build up our energy levels. So sometimes when it comes down to some of us socializing, our social energy tank becomes on the empty. So therefore, in saying this, we need to have a good night rest ahead of time, maybe eating a certain meal that is light enough for us and whatnot. Tip number 10 is, as I said before, about the hours to avoid the stress and whatnot. 11, if you want to shop into bigger shops, regardless what it may be, a department store, to give you a variation of what you want to, focus on a given majority of what part of the store you want to be under, be it if you want to be under the clothing store in the department or the furniture, what have you, so that hopefully, in saying this, it'll be less catastrophic with these meltdowns and whatnot, and then it can give you the sense of variety. Tip number 12, avoid certain things that you don't like, be it if there's certain feels or touches, whatever. So therefore, if I was wearing something that I'm uncomfortable in, this will come into play of my tip of, what I feel comfortable in when shopping, because you don't want to feel uncomfortable and start itching like crazy, or be sure to avoid certain smells that might trigger us off or whatever it may be. In saying this, that will roll into tip number 13, which is avoid any triggers, which obviously, be it if it's, background noise or whatever. So know what causes these triggers, be prepared for these everyday meltdowns, so that when that meltdown persists, you've got something in hand to prevent that meltdown from happening. Maybe on saying this also, if you were in a fashion store, tip number 15 for you guys, if you want to know, is maybe Google and research some of the fashions that's in at the moment if you want to. If you're into fashion, some autistics might like the feel and touch for some materials and whatnot and want to be into fashion. Some of us may not, but ask the autistic, obviously. Another one is tip number 19 is bring someone with you after your first or second trip alone, so that you may be able to, be comfortable with being with people around you. Okay, tip number 16 is give fair warning to yourself or your child. What I mean here is, obviously, when it comes down maybe to prepare yourself, even though there's a big day ahead of you and you're incorporating this in your routine, be it shopping or whatever, be sure to maybe you know, ensure the child that they'll be in safe hands, and just break down little chunks of what's happening throughout their day so that they know what's going down. And then maybe self-affirmations for yourself that you believe that you can get through the day with this and whatnot with your child or yourself. Tip number 18 would be taking a virtual tour of the shop if you can. Maybe shop on your own, bring a webcam, well, not a webcam as such, but a cell phone or something in general, just to get the feel, taking pictures or videos, or even just visit the stores and prepare beforehand. And also let the sales assistant know that you're autistic, or your child that is autistic as well is important. Okay, tip number 19 is, this was a repetition based on what I'm saying, getting ready to shop. Break down them into small chunks of the event, of what's going to happen, on what you're going to do, to give a sense of comfort and ease for the child and even yourself. Number 19 is having a signal. It's always important for many autistics, they may be non-verbal, to have a certain sign, so that if you aren't sure of what's going on, or that they know what's going on, that maybe, for example, their sign is hands over their ears, is an indicator for you to stop and take a break or what have you, or to know that they're also having a sensory overload. Because as we know, there are different means of communication for every child that is autistic, and they have the ability to communicate. So don't forever think that just because they're just stimming or whatever inside the store, basically that will come into play for some of them. Some of them may stim. Is a sense of just, you know, self-regulating what's going on around them. For example, here, one child might be able to say, I need a break, but on the other hand, another child who is autistic may need to learn to sign, and maybe if you don't know how to sign, prepare yourself to do some sign language courses or something, maybe. So that, you know, if a child can't readily talk to you when getting overwhelmed, there are some often also behavioural cues in saying this, of what you can learn to recognise in a child when they are having their sensory meltdown or overload. Tip number 20 is, be sure to give praises to the positive behaviours when they do come into play. When a child is not displaying the negative behaviours, it's also important to provide praises by saying to your child, I love you, you know, thank you for standing beside me or next to me as one, etc, etc. Tip 22 is, provide reinforcement for a positive shopping trip. For example, letting your child have a special treat that they enjoy, maybe. Or another example here is, for that positive reinforcement once you get home, is maybe giving them a time to get onto their electronic device and just have their time to, you know, zone out and what have you. We need to make sure that this is happening straight after when you're shopping, basically, for the trip, to create a positive experience. What happens right after that behaviour is what will influence what will happen or not happen in the near future again. Okay, the last tip, number 22, I think I'm up to, is ignore any non-harmful, inappropriate vocalizations or what have you. When a child nags or complains at you, regardless what it may be, you know, just ignore their behaviours or statements, especially if you've already, you know, shared that topic before you came into the store, you know. Don't give into an argument with your child while you're in store. Obviously, it will create a really, you know, negative outlook when you're out and about as a parent, obviously. You can provide a brief statement to them that we've already discussed this and whatever else, but remember to stay calm. If need be, repeat yourself for this. They need to learn that you mean what you say and you will stick with it, and you mean business, that you're in charge, not them. So this quickly ends a quick overview of some tips on, you know, when shopping with an autistic or what have you. Smash the like button, comment below. Feel free to follow me on my social media sites listed in the description below. Feel free, if you would like, to subscribe to my channel, because as I said, I'm trying to do this on the daily, but sometimes my schedule will likely to shorten down to Monday, Wednesday, Friday. But be on the look at it by turning on the notification bell so that you can keep up to date with what I get up to. And also in this, guys, as well as also share these videos around to ones that needs to know about this, to help, you know, create an educational, motivational tool or what have you. So on for the day, guys. Thanks for support, thanks for watching. Do what you love what you do. Until next time, Aspie signing out, and I'll see you again soon. Ciao for now.